Scott Loveridge with the North Central Regional Center for Rural Development. I'm pleased to be your moderator today for this webinar that is jointly sponsored by the NCR-CRD and the Purdue Center for Regional Development. Our speakers today are Myra Wilson and Frank Gibson. Myra is Program Director for the Albert Enterprise Center at The Ohio State University Marion Campus, which is part of Ohio State Extension's Community Development Program area. Frank is Program Manager for Albert Enterprise Center, and together both of them have decades of workforce development experience, and I think you'll enjoy what they have to say about this topic. And so if you've got questions during the webinar, I'll be monitoring the chat box. Please enter your questions as they come to mind, and we'll make sure that the presenters address them. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Frank and Myra.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today. This is Myra, and you will be hearing from Frank here in just a moment. We're going to be switching off our microphones. We're in the same office, so we were getting some feedback if we were both on at the same time. I see Godwin is on. Hello there, Godwin. Thanks for joining. And I'm not sure where everyone else is from, but we really appreciate your tuning in to listening to us today. So what we're going to be talking about is the efforts that we have as the Albert Enterprise Center through Ohio State and Extension have undertaken in our rural area to gather industrial skill requirements so that we can help the manufacturers turn the labor pool, which is large, but not necessarily the right skills, turn them into the talent pool. Closing that skills gap in rural areas really takes an understanding of the dramatic changes occurring in manufacturing today. We all remember the days when, well, at least I do anyway, remember the days when our cars were manually produced on an assembly line. Kids could leave school at 16 or 18 and go to work in factories because the work was routine and didn't require any training except on-the-job training. And the past two webinars in the series really delved into why this is changing. The unskilled laborers with little or no training are now facing more sophisticated factory environments where robots perform that routine manual labor. Employers really don't need as much of those hands-on people. They really require the semi-skilled and high-skilled technicians who could repair that equipment, install the robots, program the automated equipment. And unfortunately, that talent is sparse. And we had heard that people aren't going into manufacturing because they hear that the jobs are going away. Well, the jobs are less, there are fewer jobs in manufacturing, but they're much more highly technical. So we need to get people trained into doing the more technical aspects of manufacturing. So the dilemma for training and education professionals is to convert that large labor pool into the growing demand for the talent pool to meet the immediate needs of the workers and employers. So this webinar is going to, there's the talent pool. This webinar is going to explain the talent pool funnel that Frank sketched out and developed as he was talking with manufacturers and employers about what they did to create their talent pool. It will also describe the steps that we in the Albert Enterprise Center, we're located in rural Marion County, were the steps that we're taking to gather workforce data from employers through a collaboration with rural economic development offices in 4 counties, the manufacturers located in those counties, and the educational institutions equipped to train those workers. So first, a little bit about us. We were founded in 1996 as a workforce development center charged with working with economic development offices. As Scott had mentioned, we're now part of the OSU Marion Campus Administration as well as Ohio State Extension through Community Development Program area. Within the last 3 years, we have transformed from a workforce development center into an organization development consulting so that we can enable employers of all kinds to build their internal strengths and overcome obstacles in the areas of continuous improvement, leadership development, and innovative culture. Workforce development is still our core business, and we have several clients for whom we provide workforce development training throughout Ohio, and they're mainly in manufacturing. Frank's background and my background, both before we joined Ohio State, both in manufacturing. So this is our heart. In June of 2014, we received an Ohio State University Outreach and Engagement Seed Grant. The title of our project is Planning Foundation for Development of Skilled Workforce for Advanced Manufacturing. As we were researching advanced manufacturing career pathways a couple of years ago, we discovered that the Department of Ed and the Board of Regents in Ohio had career pathways in manufacturing. The employers who were invited to give input were from the major areas of the state. When I looked at all the background when the career pathways were developed, I did not find any representation from our rural region. So our manufacturers did not have a voice in what this meant. So Frank and I decided that this is what we really needed to focus on. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Frank now, and he's going to explain the project.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me okay. And as Myra said, with 2 of us in the same office, we were getting a little feedback. So hopefully with her muted, you guys are hearing us loud and clear. And what you have in front of you here, we're working a 4-county area, rural counties in Ohio. The counties that are in color in rural Ohio. The ones that have a red circle or star are large metropolitan areas that usually receive federal, state, and regional dollars on a regular basis. Left to right at the top, you have Toledo area, Cleveland area, Youngstown area. Right at the bottom, you have Cincinnati, Dayton, and Columbus. You will note on this graph that the large employers over 500 who have the strongest voice in the state are the smallest segment of our region. We wanted to give a voice to all of the manufacturers who create the biggest economic impact within 50 miles of Marion. The graph reads from the top center moving clockwise, and the legend follows the clockwise movement. So if you start with the orange number 5 and work your way around clockwise, your legend off to the right follows that. So it gives you an idea of what we're faced with in the Marion and surrounding county area. 208 employers with 1 to 4 employees, and then you go up from there, and your pie chart increases or decreases as it increases employment. For employers' inability to find skilled workers to compete and grow, we know this is not unique to only these 4 counties, but is a regional, state, national, and global issue. For individuals, inability to secure good jobs provide financial stability. Every one of you probably know that there's individuals out there that maybe they lack the education or skills and abilities to do very few jobs. And you'll see those maybe trying to make an income for their families by holding 3 or 4 part-time jobs. Okay, for the region, inability to attract or retain companies, grow the economy equals higher poverty and unemployment. The question is, what kind of impact is this having on your local, regional, and state economy? This is the talent pool funnel that we came up with based on what we were hearing from employers. And these things that we have in here, this is what we heard them saying they are doing to attract, hire, and develop the workforce. I will explain the visual in the next few slides. At the top of the funnel is the overall labor pool and where businesses are trying to find talent for skilled labor openings. When we first came up with this graph, the first time we used it, we was working with Honda and a group of 5 people that were trying to get closer to education and try to attract students, whether that's high school or community colleges or universities. And one of the things is we had discussions with them. We asked, well, are you doing anything with the military? And they had never done that. And now they are tapping into that resource. So this labor pool or talent pool funnel is a communication piece that we can set down and we can show them this and start asking them questions around the funnel. The outer left side of the funnel are the employer's responsibilities or what they have committed to doing to attract, hire, and retain their employees. So a number of things out to the left there is we're taking a look at their hiring processes, whether we're asking them questions like, do you serve on advisory boards? Basically, those things are connections with education. And then 2, to retain those employees, what kind of culture do you have within your organization? The outer right side of the funnel are what the applicants or the employees need to develop as far as skills, knowledges, abilities, and other attributes in order to perform on the job at the highest level. As you can see, the applicants needs a lot of assistance to document and pay for their development. So up at the top of the funnel on the right there on the outside is collect data. In some cases, businesses don't, especially the smaller ones, don't collect a lot of this data to help the individual develop some kind of portfolio. And then 2, as they get into the training, what kind of curriculum they have, job aids, that kind of thing, and then also asking questions like tuition assistance available, scholarships, or other incentives for trying to upgrade their skills. And if they go through the funnel as they get closer to it and they've had training and assistance with trying to upgrade their skills, then you have to upgrade the portfolio. So you also looking at wage and benefit packages and asking them about how their performance reviews relate to trying to improve their skill sets. Now we're at the center of the funnel, and the steps needed to move them through the funnel become higher skilled. We're asking employers what kind of information they have. How many times have you been in employers and some of them don't have a very current job description on all their jobs that they're trying to find workers for, and asking them different questions about skill sets or DACOM or job task analysis, documented work instructions, just to see what they have. And the next is like, do they track previous education, training, and experience, and is that documented somewhere? Do they do assessments and testing? And then we identify gaps and say, okay, the workers need to go through some kind of education, training, or any of the other things that we have listed there that mainly are on the outside, external, is job shadowing, mentoring, coaching, apprenticeships, co-ops, interns, work studies. Some of this is old language, some of it's new. Once the individual completes the steps needed, offered by their business or employer, they will become a part of the talent pool. So the questions on the questionnaire that we develop follow the talent pool funnel visual. We believe the data we collect will help us identify gaps that stakeholders will need assistance with in planning, developing, and implementation in regards to developing a talent pool. This next visual here was created by Georgetown University in 2010. Gives projections of jobs and educational requirements through 2018. When we are showing this to businesses and others that are involved with workforce development, educators as well, one of the comments is this needs to be updated as the salary ranges have increased. So we hope that we'll be gathering information that will show this. At the top, we're concentrating on the semi-skilled to professional level, and as you note circled in the red at the top, I would like to point out that we are focusing on that. The semi-skilled to professional jobs to develop talent for these, and not so much the entry level that only require high school education. Now we're going to show you steps we have for our action plan, and this grant started back in July of 2014, and we want to try to complete by the end of May or first part of June and have our summary and report ready. The first step is secure partners, partner with county economic development and educators. And the next slide here will show you some of those partners that we have in the 4-county area. We partner with the economic development individuals within those counties. Yeah, Crawford, Hardin, Wyandotte, and Marion. Our economic development partners in each of the 4 counties, as they have access to business leaders at the highest level, and by going through our economic development personnel, we believe it will increase our response rate and open the doors for future data collection. Sometimes the counties are doing BR&E activities, and this is looked at as part of BR&E. Past BR&E studies have shown the need for skilled labor in almost every county that is showing up here, and I'm sure other counties around the state are faced with the same issues. And the next slide will be our educational partners. Example, these are in Marion County, and of course we have Ohio State University Marion, we have Marion Harding Schools, City Schools, Marion Technical College, which we're co-located with, and then just down the road we got Tri-Rivers Career Center, and their new Ramtech Career Center stands for Robotics Advanced Manufacturing Technical Education Center. These partners are critical because we don't do the actual training. We partner with these educational institutions to help the businesses. We'll steer them in that direction, or we'll help them set it up and take care of that. The Ramtech one you see there received a lot of state recognition when they opened that up, and they're now holding a $15 million grant that 8 more Ramtech centers will be started in the state, and each of those will have to mirror what is going on at that Ramtech and Tri-Rivers Career Center. So instructors will come in there to be certified to be able to instruct because their requirements, so let's say FANUC robots, they give them the curriculum to certify the students, whether that's high school students or adults. There are also other partners, suppliers of equipment that are a part of this are ones like Motoman, again, robotics. You have Allen Bradley in electrical, electronics, and paneling. Parker for hydraulics, pneumatics, fluid power type things. So there's quite a few partnerships that evolved around this, and they'll replicate it around the state in those 8 centers. Economic development helped us pick and schedule face-to-face meetings with businesses to pilot our questionnaire. We developed a survey based on the talent pool funnel. We beta tested, we was looking at 2 counties, companies per county, and we've currently have 7 businesses that we've surveyed, and we input the data into our, we're using SurveyMonkey as a tool, and based on how they answered and responded to the questions, we've made some revisions, and the input from them really helped us do that. Our next step is to basically take it and give it back to the economic development, the actual link that companies can go online and fill that out, or some economic development people may determine that they want to use it as part of BR&E and some face-to-face meetings and going over the survey with them. Types of questions that we were asking are wage and benefit, vacancy projections, not just new or retained jobs, but vacancies included in replacement jobs. Also recruiting questions, documentation of skills, what types of assessments they use, and career resources. The next step is after the questionnaire, we'll pick a couple of businesses that we believe has good data, like job descriptions, a current job description, has done job task analysis or a DACOM or job profiling, has excellent documented work instructions. We will input this data that we collect into a proprietary talent management software called Telligence. This software will house all the data. We intend to utilize the data to share with educational partners to verify, validate, improve, or enhance current curriculum or further develop new curriculum. This curriculum, along with labs and instructors, in some cases hands-on training at work sites, will give students or participants current and future knowledge and skills required for the advanced manufacturing jobs. Next step is initiate a virtual alliance that economic development, educators, and employers can access data, communicate with one another, market job opportunities, develop virtual tours, and more. We're asking, that's the last question we ask, if they want to be a part of this virtual alliance. Some of the things that might be an outcome from that is jointly creating a marketing plan to attract talent. Currently, if you guys would go out and you're dealing with your businesses and the community and the education and stuff, that how are businesses marketing? Normally, each one is doing it themselves, and they're spending a lot of money to market, recruit, attract, and hire and retain these people. There's possibility of doing a joint marketing plan and saving a lot of money for some of these, especially the small companies can't afford to do some of this. And then, of course, evaluate all the way through the project, adjust where needed, and hopefully replicate and add more counties and share with other regions or states and look at what we've done. Actually, right now we have, as we've been doing this, we've had a few economic development people from other counties that have shown an interest in this. Some of the businesses that aren't in the 4-county area also showing an interest in educators to try asking the question, how can we be a part of that? So what we're doing is we're growing outside the 4-county area already, and we're only 6-7 months into the project. So that's pretty much the steps that we've taken, and we plan to take to complete this. We're open for questions right now. If there's anything that you've seen there that you would like us to respond to, Myra and I is here. If it's a Myra question, she can answer it. If it's a Frank question, I'll let Myra answer it too. No, just kidding. Are there any questions there?
Well, thanks very much for a quick tour through some of the things you're doing. I think you're doing some good work there. I did have a question. Most of the things that you were listing there, maybe I missed something, but it seemed like you were focusing mostly on what I would call the hard skills, kind of the technical skills. But I'm hearing increasing discussion about folks that may have some deficits in other areas, maybe just in terms of coming to work on time, how to work as a team member, passing a drug test, those kinds of things. Are you seeing any of that with the employers you're working with there in terms of that being a need? And if so, how do you address it?
Yeah, a good question, Scott. Yes, we're hearing a lot about the so-called soft skills besides the hard technical skills, and there's been a lot of discussions between economic development, educators, and business in a lot of the counties. And I know, I think I seen Nancy Bowen on here earlier when we were in Hardin County. She might have sat in on a meeting where there was a lot of discussion about that kind of thing. And I think it's been going on for quite a while, and I've been doing this kind of work since 1990, and when I worked for the Department of Development and getting out more into the different counties and stuff, I've heard this for quite some time. Give me somebody that is willing to work, will come to work, can pass the drug screen, and then two, be a part of the team and be a team player and all kinds of things like that. Of course, if you're like most counties in Ohio, when you go to talk to or you have somebody presenting about the drug issues, a lot of what went on in the past years wasn't documented as well. So if you've seen any of those presentations, the drug problem is worse than what it was apparently years ago, but we didn't have the data. So now they have the data, and they can say, hey, this is bad. Now, same way with workforce development. It's been going on for quite some time that they just don't have the skilled workers to fill the positions. Machines set idle, or they don't purchase machines because they don't have the skilled labor, and all kinds of things like that going on. But yes, the soft skills is part of what they're doing. Curriculum is part of what we're doing in collecting the data. Did that answer your question there, Scott?
In the meantime, I've put up yes, thanks. I put up an evaluation so folks could kind of click through that. That'd be great, and get us some feedback about the webinar. So I did hear, some employers were, well, it's kind of amazing to me that people will take a drug test if they've been using drugs. I mean, but they seem to, that seems to happen. They take the drug test and then they fail, and then some employers I've heard will, refer that person to, some places where they can get some help, and then encourage them to come back, once they've gotten themselves in a cleaner state. Is that something that your employers are doing?
Yeah,
or
we see that too. Yeah, it's all across the board as far as how employers handle it and how the individuals handle that.
Yeah. So is that
Any other
effective
questions?
to kind of work with somebody to try? Is it effective in your opinion to work with somebody that's got that issue?
I guess again, it's according to who you talk to in the business world. You know, it's like you're hearing all across the board again that we've done that, and we've got some good results, and we got some bad results. You know, somebody shows me some numbers that. Then I could give you some numbers. Maybe somebody has it. Maybe somebody out there in the audience knows where we can get a hold of those numbers so we can throw those up in front of employers at different times. But it's not I guess
Yeah.
some do, some don't. Here's an example of one I heard at Northwestern Ohio Economic Development session about a year or so ago. Is one of the construction representatives that was on the panel up front. They was talking about the drug issues, and he said, you know, it's a big issue, and he said one of the employers that I know lowered the bar, and they done away with their drug screen. Now, what do you think about that? So when he made that statement, it was just like the room started buzzing a little bit. But you know, and I heard rumors that one employer said, "Well, we'll allow marijuana, but anything other than that, we won't employ you." So you know, what goes on out there in you know, as far as rehab and different things.
I hope they're not operating heavy equipment at that place.
Yeah, this was a machine shop.
Anyway,
That was a machine shop.
oh my gosh.
So yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah.
So I guess you're going to maybe go back in a few months and count everybody's fingers and see how many fingers they have then.
Yeah, I don't have a clue. It's scary. I mean, it's scary that those people are working machinery. If it's construction or whether it's machinist, and it's not just them.
Yeah.
It's the workers around them. So.
Yeah, I think that would be that employer might be looking at higher, disability insurance down the road.
Yep.
Okay, well that's very
rate.
helpful. So is this something that's, you know, the strategies that you're using, is it something that's exportable to other states if, you know, folks wanted to get, you know, some of this expertise? Could they, could they work with you and figure out a way to get you to do some of it elsewhere, or is it, are you pretty much focused on your area?
No, it will be open. Once we complete the project, we have to give a summary to our grantee and or grantor, and that will probably be posted definitely, and we'll have some kind of a information that'll be in a nice little wrap up. But yes, if somebody's interested and they want to discuss what we're doing in more detail, yeah. Meyer just threw up on the screen that there's our phone number and also our email addresses. If you have any questions, we'll be glad to share the questionnaire once we get it in our final version before we send it to the masses.
Oh, great. Well, I just want to alert everybody on the line that we do. The center occasionally does help provide some resources to bring programs across state lines. So be thinking about that as well. This webinar is being archived. It will be posted on our website along with the PowerPoint that Frank and Myra presented today. Did you have anything else you want to say there, Frank or Myra?
I think we're okay. Just thank you for asking us to present what we're doing and sort of give us the direction that we're headed in our little Fort County area here and beyond.
Yes, thanks a lot. Very interesting, and I think a very useful approach to dealing with some of the issues that many of us in the region are facing. I know our governor here in Michigan just announced that in spite of the fact that we have a kind of unexpected budget deficit, that he's increasing the funding for higher ed and for technical training, because he realizes that, you know, those two sets of state-supported institutions are very critical to the state's future. So he's, you know, he's facing a need to cut, and he's still increasing the funding in those areas. So I think that's pretty good comment about the need for that in this state, and I imagine Ohio is very similar. So thanks very much.
There is one thing, Scott.
Sure.
Yeah. Collaboration and leveraging of resources. We use that terminology quite a bit over the years, but in order to pull something off like this, it takes a lot of collaboration and using resources others have that we partner with makes it easier, because if everybody knows sort of the direction we're headed and they can take a piece of what needs to be done, it makes it a lot more economical, and everybody's sort of heading in a direction. So that's it.
Yep. Very good. Well, thanks again. And again, this is all going to be posted on our website, so I'm sure people will access it after the fact. And I'm sure Carolyn will enjoy it when she gets a chance to see it as well. All right.